a rhinestone from rubies. I never knew a mink from a sable or seal, phonies from real. Oh, look at me now. Gotta.
I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Carpinteria Valley Water
Recording in
District.
progress.
Pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the roll call, Bob.
Director Roberts.
Here.
Director Holcomb.
Here.
Director Balch.
Here.
Director Johnson.
Here.
Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
All right, 5 present.
Item number 3, consider adoption of Resolution 1139, proclaiming a local emergency, ratifying the proclamation of state of emergency by Governor Newsom's order dated March 4, 2020, and authorizing remote teleconference meetings of the legislative bodies of the Carpinteria Valley Water District for the period of February 8, 2023 to February 28, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Roberts.
Aye.
Director Holcomb.
Yes.
Director Johnson.
Yes.
Director Balch.
Aye.
Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Then we go on to item number 4, public forum. Any person may address the board of directors on any matter within its jurisdiction which is not on the agenda. Nobody? Online, anybody? Or? Okay, then we move on to item number 5, approval items. 5A, minutes of the regular board meeting held on January 25th, 2023.
Polly motions for approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Then we need a roll call, please.
Director Holcomb.
Yes.
Director Johnson.
Yes.
Director Roberts.
Aye.
Director Balch.
Aye.
Director Van Wingerden.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Then we got item number 6, unfinished business, none. We move on to item number 7, new business. 7A, consider draft cap funding plan for action, Bob.
Yeah, I'll just make a correction. It's not actually for action, it's for information.
Okay.
And this is one of a series of information items that you'll receive over the next few board meetings with the intent on a month from now, on the 8th, we'll bring a proposal from the design engineering team that supplied a proposal for CAP. And today we have Rob Morrow from WSC here to do a quick presentation and then have answer any questions that you may have. So with that, Rob.
No?
Okay, I can hear me now. Okay, yes, so as Bob said, this is just an update on the project. In particular, we've made a lot of progress from funding and getting close to launching final design. Next slide, please. So just give you an update since the last time we were here, which was last August. Give an update on cost because that feeds the funding and financing plan. And then again, as Bob mentioned, at the next board meeting in 2 weeks, Ralph Tallis will be here to talk about potential rate impacts and start a rate discussion for the project or related to the project. And then a month from now, we'll be bringing you a final design contract, which will be the big net contract until we get to construction. So we wanted to give you a general cost and program update. Next slide, please. So since we last talked, we went through a final design consultant selection process. We had a pre-proposal meeting. We had 4 firms show up. We had some interest. We ultimately only got 1 proposal, which unfortunately is basically where the market is right now. There's a lot of projects happening. We did a lot of outreach prior and afterwards, and basically folks just didn't have the teams to put together competitive teams. The good news is the folks who proposed did know they were going to be the only ones, and they're a very good team. And we've been negotiating with price on them the last 2 months and have eliminated some items. And so I think we feel pretty good at where we're at right now. But that's and so now that cost is reflected in the budget projections going forward. But again, that contract will be coming to you in a month. Funding and financing wise, we heard about the Title 16 grant award. We heard about the state board water recycling funding grant. All positive news. We, in December, submitted a grant application to DWR for Sigma grants, $20 million grant, $15 million of which would be for this project. We cleared a major hurdle for this SRF loan application. We've been stuck on some environmental reviews at the federal level, which have been pretty frustrating, and those have been cleared. And so we're a few months away now from potentially having an SRF agreement for a low-interest loan. In parallel, we had submitted a WIFIA letter of interest. WIFIA is Federal Low-Interest Loan Program, and we basically did this as a hedge in case the SRF environmental hurdles were not cleared in time, and we're going to potentially hold up the project. And then we've been working with Raftalis and staff on long-term projections and eventually starting a rate process. On the permitting side, we've been meeting with the city. We met with the Coastal Commission, staff, regional board, Division of Drinking Water. All folks will be permitting the project. So we're doing this basically because we've kind of been on pause with them the last few years, but now that we're close to launching final design, getting on their schedules, making sure we'll be able to meet our schedule and stay within theirs. And then the last one is working on some conditions of an agreement between the Water District and the Sand District for this project. That's of particular interest because the advanced treatment plant will be at the Sanitation District property, and so working on how the ownership, how the loan's going to work, and then also getting into operations. And so this is just the beginning of that process, and it's mainly been Bob and Craig Murray, the GM of the Sanitation District, talking. And I think the plan is to then, once we get some basic terms hammered out, to bring it to council on each side and then bring it to joint committees and the like for eventual approval. But that's a multi-month process that we're starting right now. So any questions on that update? We'll get into some numbers here in a sec. Okay, next slide. So this is the construction cost estimate from where we were at the end of 2019 to where we are today. And what I'm trying to reflect there is the impact of inflation from 2019 to 2025, which is the midpoint of a construction. So I think we've all heard or are aware of the inflation that's been happening. In particular, in the construction industry, it's been just as rough. And so we've seen costs go up on bids this past year that we haven't seen before. So what we've done is our plan was to wait until final design started to present you with an updated cost estimate. We need to do this now for some of the rate planning and some of the SRF planning. And so basically what we've done is we've escalated the original cost based on inflation, based on a construction cost index, and then added a 25% contingency because of some of the specialty equipment that's included in especially the advanced treatment plant that we're seeing even higher rates of inflation on right now. This is obviously something we're going to be tracking throughout the program through final design, and we'll have much more detailed cost estimates available once we get into that, and ways to mitigate potential cost increases. Next slide. So then we're putting all these numbers together. So that construction cost number is the upper right in the upper right table. We've got the left table is the final design phase cost. So that's basically the costs we're committing to through the start of construction. And the big one there is the final design estimate of $3.8 million. That's what will be coming to you in a month. Otherwise, all the other costs we've been accounting for them this whole time, but that's will be the next decision to move forward with that phase for that final design contract. When we get to the construction phase, we have the construction contractor cost, which is what we showed on the previous screen, plus support services. And so that gets you to this total of $43 million during construction. And then you put all those together, plus the $2 million that has been spent to date on the project, and we're at just over $50 million for a total program cost. So that's where we are today. The numbers in here are, and I should mention the construction phase, the contractor estimate is a construction estimate. The other two numbers are from proposal estimates. So those are much firmer numbers. And so the biggest one we'll be focusing on, obviously, is the construction contract. But this is just, you will have many opportunities to weigh in before we get there. Yes?
For the 38, that includes the 25% contingency?
Yes, that's right. So the good news is, with the grant funding that's come through, is basically at least we're looking at getting 60 cents on every dollar that's being spent right now from a combination of federal and state loans, or grants. And so it's helping to mitigate the increases we're seeing. And we can go through that on the next few slides. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's his question. Yeah, so when we first met you,
Yes.
we were at $32 million, and then we went up to like $40 million, and now it's projected at $50 million, with the final design being pretty firm.
Right.
Is that what I'm getting from you?
Yep.
And but on this in our board packet, we got that final design has been started, and part of the money's paid for.
Well, the only work that's going on is the work we're doing right now as program management. So the final design has not been started. We did preliminary design in 2019.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make that because during the final design, I don't know, the way it was worded, it sounded like we'd already paid some money. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm definitely sensitive to the numbers you just mentioned, the increases. The vast majority of that is the construction cost increases, and then there is just delays in timing as you move forward, just from typical inflation each year. Costs go up.
Is there any way, and probably not, if we get to the point where we sign a contract with for the construction? Because I'm seeing, I'm not a scientist, but I'm thinking a lot of the prices are being driven by the COVID
manipulated shipping bottlenecks and shortages and things like that. And once people start, the pipelines should be clearing now, that we might see an improvement in that. Is there any way to dial that back?
That's some of the stuff we're going to be looking into. I mean, part of this is, a lot of this is specialty equipment coming from overseas. And so there's just, I don't know, if you're doing it with electrical equipment right now, it's a year plus out, where it's usually several months. And so there's still bottlenecks happening, and we'll be talking about ways to mitigate that, whether it's pre-purchasing items to lock in prices, get the order in now ahead of construction so it doesn't hold up construction. So I think we're going to get into that, but it's evolving. I mean, just like everything else. Yes?
Where's it coming from?
Well, it depends. There's Japan has a lot of the treatment equipment. It depends on the it depends on the vendor that is ultimately selected. Some are in Canada, some are Japan. So it depends. Any other questions? Next slide, please. So here's just a quick update on some numbers for the grant. So USBR Title 16 is federal. We get 25% of a grant for every dollar we spend. We were awarded just under $10 million last fall. Because of the cost escalation, we can request an additional $2.7 million this year, and so this summer they'll have another request out. And so there still is an unusual amount of money from the federal stimulus. So we're hopeful of that when we request it later this year. The IRWM from the state is a $1.1 million grant. Where the county is working through the contract with the state on that right now, but we're hopeful that'll be done midsummer or so. And part of that money will help fund planning this next year, and some of it will be put towards construction. Then the State Board Water Recycling Facilities Planning Grant was awarded in the fall of $10.8 million. Again, it's 35% of just construction costs versus the other grant is all including planning costs. So it's just construction costs, but again, with the construction cost increase, we're able to request another $2.5 million, and we'll be doing that this month. And that is going to be tied with the SRF loan, which we're agreement, which we're hoping to have by May or June of this year. And then a Sigma planning grant, which has already been awarded, and for the monitoring well that'll be constructed this summer. And then the last one, which would be nice, but we're not counting on it right now, is a Sigma grant, which we submitted in December. And we should hear about that in April or May of this year. So the table that was in your board packet is on the next slide, which kind of summarizes all these numbers, maybe in a more legible format, I'm not sure. But basically, if you look at the second column, we've been awarded $22 million in grants to date, which accounts for about 45% of the project costs. So that's good. The additional requests we plan to make soon and this summer would add another $5 million or so, which would put us at about 55% of the total costs. And if the Sigma grant comes through, then we look very good at another $15 million, getting up to 85% of the total costs. So capital costs have gone up, but we're mitigating as much as we can with grants.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
That is good news. Is the Sigma Planning $700,000 grant, is that for the injection wells at El Caro?
Monitoring well.
Monitoring wells around that area. It's
Yes,
not,
El Caro Park. That's
has
right.
nothing to do with the Sentry wells on the marsh.
That's correct. But the implementation grant included funding for additional Sentry wells by the marsh. So that was a $20 million grant. The other $5 million, I think all of that was going towards those new wells.
Okay, yeah.
I think that maybe you're confusing it, just so I can
Yeah,
maybe
I am.
clarify it. So are you talking about the Sentinel wells?
Yeah, the
Or-
Sentinel
Oh, yeah, Sentinel wells were a match with, for this program, for this Sigma planning grant. So we used the money that we spent, the 700,000, to construct the Sentinel wells as the match for that program because it required a 50% match. Or I'm sorry, a 25% match. And so,
Except for we paid 800 and something thousand.
yeah, well, we got almost a $2 million grant from the
Oh.
program, so.
Total budget
yeah.
sticks in my head. Okay. Okay, that's why I'm getting these two. It's the same dollar figure. So this is basically the monitoring wells throughout the valley at the point that we're making injections, right?
Well, downstream of where we're making
Yeah,
injections,
to make sure it's safe and part of the whole monitoring and safety and knowing exactly what's going on as closely as
Yes,
possible.
it will serve as that, but it also will serve as a Sigma monitoring point. So that's how we were able to be eligible for the Sigma funding.
Okay, do they also do injection at this 700,000?
No,
No
Nope.
injection? Okay.
just monitoring.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this slide? Okay, we'll move to the next one with just a quick loan update. So December 2019, we submitted our state revolving fund SRF application. We've been working on it and working back and forth with the state since then. So just a few weeks ago, we got the good news. We've gotten our environmental clearance, and we've been meeting with the state, and the target is to have a draft agreement in place by May, and so that can be signed by July. The state's motivated to close this because there's lots of other projects behind it on the list, and they want to get this one going. So we're actively working on it, and the rate as of November was 2.6%. They're doing another bond issuance in the next few months, and so we'll find out what that rate is. That'll likely be part of our contract once that issuance occurs. So we'll see where we end up. As I mentioned, we submitted a WIFIA letter of interest in December, and the WIFIA goes much quicker. It's a much quicker process, and so it was a low level of effort, and we wanted to get on the list to be able to get a loan in case the SRF process drug out, because we didn't want to have to go to the private market for construction funding. So we have not gotten the approved letter of interest, but we talked with them last week, and they said it should be coming any day. So all that means is we're now in line to be able to submit a full application if and when we want to. So the downside of the WIFI app is it's still lower than the public market, but it's slightly higher than SRF at 3.6%. So we still prefer the SRF route, and that's looking much more positive now. But we do have this backup in case we need to pursue it.
Can you go over again, we went over the grant portion of our efforts, which is encouraging. And so this is the funding loan portion of our efforts. And what percentage of this would be on the total project?
It's basically whatever you need. It's the balance of costs. So depending on how much we get in grants, it would be the balance of costs. Plus what I'll show in the last thing here is on cash flow wise, you might want to have a little bit more to help with cash flow during construction until you get all those grants in hand.
This table kind of gives you the idea that, if we get the likely grants, we'll be funding 45% of the project cost with loans. If we get the potential grants, we'll be funding 15% of the project with loans. So it kind of gives you an idea of what the loan amount will be.
And Raftalis is using these numbers as part of its rate analysis. So when they present at next board meeting, you can see kind of how that translates into an annual cost.
have a question. So you mentioned that we might have a bridge loan necessary for cash flow purposes, and that would be likely the, State Water Resources Board or whatever. Is there, that they don't care about prepayments?
Let
Or
me
do they?
let me get to that. SRF does not have a the new, we have comments to the state right now. One of them is on prepayments. So that's a new term they've added to the agreement, restricting prepayments. But I don't think the way we're approaching this, I don't think it should be a big deal. But we can, yeah.
Stay tuned, in other words.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All right, there's a lot of information here. I don't need to go into each individual one. The main message is we're working on a lot of grant and loan agreements right now, and we can't get any of the money from them until we get signed agreements, and then we submit a request, and then particularly from the state, it's about 120 days until you see any dollars. And so because of that, we're not expecting to see grant or loan money in the district's revenues until towards the end of this year. And so that one of the things we're talking about on the next slide is just the cash flow implications of that. The good news is because the SRF and Title 16 allow you to ask for previously spent money, so the $2 million that's already been spent on the project, you're able to get a loan for that money. It rolls into your loan, so that actually is going to help with cash flow. And then once you get going, you'll get $1 for every dollar you submit or spend. You submit $1 to the state and either get that back as a loan or grant, depending on where we are, and you get 25 cents back from the Fed. So for every dollar you spend, you'll get $1.25, and so you'll be able to build up some cash reserves. But we got to get to that point where we're submitting and building that up, and so here's our latest estimate of the timing of all of those. But there are negotiations with the state and feds, and so the timing is as fast as we can make it, but it's not totally in our control. So I think that's the main message here is we can get a few million up front from our previously spent cost, and then we'll be able to get $1.25 for every dollar we spend going forward. And on the next slide, you can see what that means. So there's a lot on here. The orange bars is the spending. So you can see we're in January, February 2023 right now. Not much is being spent, but once the final design contract starts in March, and soon thereafter the spending ramps up, and we're assuming an 18-month final design period, and so at the end of those 18 months, when it starts to jump again, that's when construction starts. And then on the blue bars are the repayments, or either grants or loans. And so you can see that what we're estimating now is at the end of the year, we're going to end up getting those repayments, that several million from previously spending. And so once we are able to get those, then we're going to be cash positive. But in the meantime, we're projecting about $2 million in shortfalls. And so we're not asking for any action today, but we can use reserves for that. You could use a bridge loan, but there's costs associated with a public loan or private loan, excuse me. And I should also mention that the sanitation district has offered to provide some reserves, and they're supportive of it. However, they can't just give it to you legally. So we need to have that agreement in place that I mentioned previously, and so that's going to be one of the items in that agreement. And so anyway, so that's good news to help with this the cash flow item. So if that makes sense, then we get to construction, and in construction, what's happening is you're just spending a bunch of money early on, and there's a delay when you get those reimbursements. So once you start getting those reimbursements, then the cash flow becomes positive. And We have this set up where we can do a bunch of simulations. It's really dependent on how quickly the contractor gets going and starts spending money. We've talked about staggering construction schedule to have that ramp up be slower, which would help with cash flow. It would also help with just managing the project. So, but right now have a fairly conservative estimate. And so that'll be refined as we go forward. We'll know a little bit more about the repayment timing, the contractor schedule, and our repayment terms, because we'll have agreements in place. And so based on this, we're looking at about a $3 million shortfall early in the process, with it, again, recovering. And so, again, right now, we're not asking for any action. This is something that we're going to be tracking through the final design process as we get better numbers. And we'll be looking at how your reserves are, if sanitation district can contribute, and whether there's going to be a need for a bridge loan. So the hope is that we can use reserves to avoid the additional cost. Bob's received some estimates, and it's $300,000 to $500,000 in interest and fees and things like that. So it's not minor if we can avoid it. But we'll do what we have to do. So I think there's some animation if you press it one more time. So this just summarizes what I just said. During the final design phase, we're pushing to get these agreements in place, but we can only move as fast as our partners do, our funding partners. And then there's a question of that first repayment. There's usually a lot of back and forth because as they check all their boxes and we get all our forms correct. So we're hoping end of the year is when our big payments come through, and that's where the cash flow issue is addressed. And then in the construction phase, it's the speed of construction and the delay in payment from when you incur the cost to when you're actually reimbursed. And so I think we have some ideas on how to mitigate for that. And then your options, as I mentioned, reserves or commercial loan. So that's the update I have for today. So my focus on this presentation was on the short term. Ralph Tallis will be here next board meeting to talk about longer term and rate implications, and also just to see if you guys have any questions, if we want to do any follow-up analysis or any kind of, we can obviously provide any data you guys need.
Any questions? Shirley, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, do you have a date when you think that we'll actually be breaking ground and construction starting?
Well, assuming we kick off final design in March, the rough construction schedule is to start in about 18 months later. We have talked about accelerating portions of the project. The pipelines and the wells can be moved to start sooner. And so there's pros and cons to that, one of which is dependent on the Sigma grant, because if that Sigma grant comes through, you're potentially drilling a bunch of wells around that same time. And so talking about the district's capacity to manage that. And so the rough estimate is fall of 2024. It could be earlier. And then for the advanced treatment plant, that's really the critical path in this whole thing. It's the longest to design. It's the longest to construct. So it's still, regardless of when we start construction, it's when that gets in place and the testing and everything done there is done that the whole system will be operational.
Oh, so you think fall 2024 might be more the accoutrements, the pipelines, the monitoring?
We might be able to start those before fall 2024.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
We also have to get all our we have to get our coastal development permit in place. We have to get several other things in place to start that as well. But that's one of the options we're going to talk about for constructions, maybe starting in the summer. And then there's things like constructing in front of the school. We want to have certain timing for that. And so there's lots of considerations to work through to nail down that exact construction schedule.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I'd like to offer a comment as well. Is that it seems like so far so good, and as far as working with the sanitary district, I'd like to see as much cooperation on those lines as feasible, because I know, they already have their work and our staff already has our work, but, to use ingenuity and, rather than just, farm everything out to outside consultants. And I know the Central Coast Water Authority has had some great success stories on that, where they go in on a contract and get bids, and then they kind of step back, and then okay, what else can we do? Maybe we'll cut this and we can do this ourselves, or, really good cooperation, and not, people, fighting over territory or authority and things like that. And because it all comes down to water for our community.
Right, and you both have a similar set of customers, and we meet weekly, both the sanitary district and the water district. So things are going well now, and we got to work through the details. So that's what we're in the middle of right now.
Yeah, with the can-do people, with
Yes.
the hands-on. And
Yes.
thank you.
Yeah, if I might, to the chair, respond to that as well. We, in 2017-18, met with the board of the sanitary district to discuss cooperation with the project and set the foundation, I think, for this project in terms of cooperation. The managers, myself and Craig Murray, have been meeting pretty much continuously since then. But we also are talking about restarting the board conversations to make sure everybody is comfortable with the approach that we have for sharing risk and cost and everything else that will come along with this project.
I have a question. Didn't we sign like an MOU at that time, or did we ever get to a point where I think we agreed to some terms, but
Yeah, we have a term sheet, but we didn't ever execute any documents.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
So this is 100% grant or loan funded, this project?
It's depending on what we get. We've gotten 45% grant and
Right.
expect to get 55%. But if we get the last grant that we applied for in December, it'll be 85% funded.
Right, but it's all either, if it's not funded through a grant, it's going to be a loan.
That's correct. Right.
Okay, I got a question on if you want to, if you like to short the $2-3 million instead of going to the commercial market, can the reserves from our district and the sanitation district do that at a lower interest rate, or what is the interest rate for intercompany versus commercial?
We haven't gotten there yet, but for ourselves, if we're going to loan ourselves money, I would expect we wouldn't charge any interest. But for the sanitary district, it's
Well,
it's
maybe-
whatever the rate is that we agree upon.
Right, but you can convince them to do it.
Yeah, the problem with the bank/commercial loan is the short-term nature and small value make it not very attractive to them. So the only way they can do it is by raising the rates very high.
Right, but if you can get it from sanitation ourselves, obviously. I mean, we have enough reserves ourselves to do that, so if need be.
Yeah, we're analyzing that right now.
That's the question, yeah. So, okay, thank you.
You have a credit card with the district, right?
Dude, that's a really expensive rate, though. We don't want to do it.
57 million travel miles.
Wow. Okay, anything else from Bob or either Bob?
I just want to thank you for the 25% contingency. Hopefully it won't go that high, but I think it needs to be in there right now. We just finished a big project at Kachuma. We got lucky. It didn't go nearly as high, and we were in the thick of all the inflation, so maybe we'll have the same luck, but I like it being there right now. Thanks.
Thank you.
It very much reminds me of the reservoir covering project and the tank project that started out at, I don't remember what that was, but 12 million or something, or maybe it was presented to the board as a $10 million project, and it tripled.
Right. And that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it, because I was there when that happened, and I was a young engineer looking at the numbers thinking, wow, this is kind of nuts. And so now we're looking, we add contingencies, we look at dollars during the midpoint of construction, and hopefully we're closer.
And we'll have a district bake sale, so that'll help.
Yes. All right.
We're good?
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Then we move on to item number 7B, consider engaging DCSC Inc. to provide aerial imagery analysis for parcels within the district in an amount of not to exceed $29,320. Action for Bob.
Yeah, and I apologize for the description. I didn't, in the description mention, but it is mentioned in the staff report that one of the primary purposes for engaging this firm is to do work to enable us to move forward with important work that I've been talking with you about over the last year, and that's the allocation study. We have aerial photos done every 2 years, and they are great. They give us a visual sense of what's on the ground in each property, but they're difficult to determine what the type of vegetation is in some cases. Although we have a very talented staff that knows GIS very well and can do amazing things, it's a very specialized field to do remote sensing and determination of what types of crops and how to interpret the photo in such a way that they can utilize that information and come up with data that we can use. So Meso Motlo, our administrative analyst, is here to do the presentation on this. She's been working with our GIS staff on this and on the allocation. So I'll turn it over to her.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, good evening.
Okay, got the presentation. So yeah, as Bob mentioned, we sort of have two motivations for this contract. We have the allocation program, which is the second item there. And that is what you guys have all been hearing about, where we will actually have parcel-specific allocations for everyone in the district. And those will be really useful in a lot of management tools, in conservation targeting, in times of drought, managing how much people are using. And then there's also this second part of it, which is more recent, which is the top part. The state is now, they have this whole water use efficiency package that they're rolling out, where they are going to hold us to an allocation that they determine for us. And so we have to have a sense of what we actually think our allocation will be to anticipate whether or not we're going to exceed what the state says our allocation is. And then going forward, they'll compare that against our actual use. And if our actual use exceeds our allocation, we have a problem. So this contract will allow us to both understand what our GWR allocation is likely to be and compare that to our historical use, and then also develop our parcel-specific allocation. So they're very related, but have slightly different objectives and are implemented slightly differently. And as Bob mentioned, we already have aerial imagery that was flown for 2020, and then the state also has already provided their analysis of 2018 imagery, but only for what they consider residential parcels. So we have a bit of a gap in information there, where what the state has doesn't include the whole district. And what we have the imagery, but it hasn't been analyzed, so we don't know what's on the image. And so this contract will allow us to do that. Bob, if you go to the next slide.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Ask a question to the chair. Okay, thank you. You just whipped that by me, and now I'd like a little more.
Of course.
What about the
slide.
state allocation? I know we have state water allocation, which is 2,000 acre feet.
Oh, yeah, no, this is very different than that.
And so
So these
what is this?
These haven't actually been finalized yet. DWR has sent their recommendations to the State Resources Control Board, and the state board will then allow for more comment on them and refine them a little bit more, and then they will become public and will actually be held to them.
Yeah.
However, the timeline right now for when they should be adopted is 2024, and you're supposed to actually report on the year prior to that, which means if that timeline doesn't get significantly pushed back, we have to start doing things right now. But you might not have heard about it because it technically hasn't been approved yet.
What is the concept behind holding us to an allocation?
Yeah, so state is going to say how much they think our residential users should be using, and they have essentially said how much irrigated area they think is on each parcel, and then they've come up with a formula for saying how much water you should use based on the irrigated area on your parcel. And then the sum of that across all our whole district is how much water our residences should use. So they're going to take that number, and then we have to report our monthly usage to them. And they're going to look at our monthly usage and compare it to that number. And if our monthly usage is higher than what they think it should be, then they could fine us. So
Fine us. Oh, okay.
that's where it goes. We don't know exactly how much, and it's likely there would be some, a couple of stages before that, but yes.
And this is kind of a drought situation.
Well, they're not saying it's only in times of drought. We'll have to report to them every year.
Well,
So-
that's good control, but fines if water's flowing into the ocean. I mean,
Yeah.
they're still working on those.
They are still working on them, and based on the preliminary analysis I've done, I think we will be below our allocation, which is a good place to start. But yeah, it's definitely something we have to watch.
Huh. Totally, I haven't even heard a whiff of anything like
I'd be
this.
happy to send you guys the state has sent out some very lengthy PDFs, which I'd be happy to send you. I could also send you some of my notes on them if you want a more succinct version, because
succinct.
their PDFs are lengthy, but they are informative.
Yeah. And another thing I'd like to add to that, as far as urgency or and the data, just from looking what's in our packet, is like amazing. Like, wow. But it's also reflecting the especially the residential customers of the district who are really concerned about conservation. And they're really asking, well, how are we going to be protected? Are we going to be, we're already cutting back, to like 3 units for a 4-bedroom house or something like that.
Wow.
And so, I'm telling about this program that we're doing and really overlooking everything and working on a budget rather than on history of water use. So, and of course, I think there's an element of residential and irrigation, residential irrigation, in case, I think maybe the state's looking forward to, if we're really getting a pickle and it's a matter of health and survival, how much can they cut? I think they're striving to have a lever to pull on lawns.
Yeah, where's the more elastic demand that they can actually
lawns and
rein
stuff,
in?
and make a differentiation between,
Yeah.
houses. Okay. All right, well, thank you for, I guess I understand.
Yeah, I'd be happy to provide more information on that.
Anyone
'cause,
else?
yeah, it's a lot.
Actually, I got a question. So, but I'm assuming we're just not talking residential. Agricultural will be also get their allocation.
So the state part is right now, they only have the state's right now primarily focused on residential. There is a CII component to the state's efficiency standards. However, that will be based on things like performance measures and BMPs and, going out there and actually working with those customers. They aren't held to a specific number the same way the residences are, and same thing for ag. They haven't addressed ag in this way. So the state's program is really quantitatively more focused on residences. Our internal allocation program will include all parcels, so it will include agricultural.
Okay, but the imagery that you're looking for will qualify every parcel. How many homes are there? How many acres of farmable ground, or is it all?
It'll have irrigated area. Do you want to go to this slide?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, we can use that. Oh. Oh, okay. Different PowerPoint. That's fine. So it's kind of hard to see there, but at the very top, you can see it says identify II, INI, and NI areas. So they will identify irrigated areas. II is irrigable irrigated. So you're able to irrigate it and you're actually irrigating it. INI is irrigable not irrigated, and then NI is not irrigable. And you can't see it. I can send this around to everyone, but there are also subcategories within each of those. So the analysis will say, is it trees? Is it turf? Is it a pool or bare land? Or just impervious surface? It will not say specific crop types because it's just not able to do that. But we have our internal system where we've been tracking each year, crop changes in acreage per parcel. So this will be more focused on just like the total square feet of irrigable area on the parcel and not how many square feet of like avocado versus some other crop.
Okay, and it will not be related to the fee we're charging right now for the GSA, the parcel, that's totally separate?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm guessing, is it possible to bring up another? If not, I can just send this around afterwards. Okay. Don't worry. I'll send this around afterwards. This just has some helpful visuals for what I'm talking about, because it's just kind of easier to see. But this is essentially highlighting the things that we want from this contract, and then we talked to 3 different service providers and looked at who provides the things that we want. So the blue are things that we want them to provide that we can't do in-house. So that's basically actually looking at the image and saying how many square feet of this is irrigable, not irrigable, those 3 categories. Because that is just, as Bob said, that takes pretty specific processing, which we just don't have the capabilities for in-house. It will also identify turf areas specifically, which is really useful for rebating and also for complying with the whole non-functional turf, don't be watering areas that don't need to be watered. And then the green part at the bottom is something that some of these companies have suggested that we do, which we can definitely do in-house, which is basically create like a dashboard or an interactive GIS map or, some way to actually use these results that's useful to us. So we just don't need to pay them to do that. And so as you can see on the left, Eagle Aerial, really all they suggested to us that they do was take the image that DWR has already provided, that 2018 imagery, and put it on a fancy dashboard, which is nice, but really just doesn't provide the functionality that we need. Whereas these other 2, DSCE and SeaWorld, actually provide a lot more of the functionality that we're looking for. So they would analyze the whole parcel from 2020, which we don't have right now, and that's more current information that would be really useful for us. And then we can take that and basically do the in-house looking at who should we target, how do we actually apply this in our allocation program. I think does anyone have questions on that? Or okay. Next slide, Bob. Oh, yeah, okay. Same table, just with costs. So Eagle Aerial, as you can see, is less expensive, but they just don't provide what we need. It wouldn't get us towards either objective, really. And so DSCE and SeaWorld were pretty comparable in their costs. DSCE provided a bunch of different tasks we could choose from. So they had a range of costs that was between $25,000 and $50,000. And we have since refined what we actually want with them, which is why the cost in the staff memo is now basically $30,000, because that's a more accurate representation of what we actually want them to do. And they broke up their tasks and the costs, as you can see. So the $15,000 at the top there is basically doing the image analysis for all of the parcels in the district. Then there's an additional cost for parkways, which is like the non-parcel areas. And that, I think, we don't necessarily need them to do, because in-house, Danielle can go in, who's our GIS expert, and basically put boundaries on those areas, and then they will be included in their analysis. What they were saying they would do is put the boundaries on those areas and then slice them up so that, like, a sidewalk with a little green strip, you'd take like 10 feet of that that's in front of a parcel and attribute it to that parcel. So you'd basically increase their irrigated area by that like extra little sidewalk strip. And that's just, it doesn't provide a meaningful difference to us for the amount of money, because there are other ways to account for them potentially watering that. So if we want to increase their allocation, so that we give them some water to water that sidewalk strip, we can do that without the 10 grand cost of, attributing it in GIS. The last item on the top part there, I guess fourth down, it just says adjust initial results, which is very vague, but essentially what it means is that the initial image classification will look at some of the large residential parcels we have, for example, that have a lot of oak trees or maybe a hobby farm, and just immediately classify those as irrigated. And we would need to go through and look at those and say, okay, should this actually be irrigated area? Like if someone has an oak orchard on their parcel, maybe we don't actually want to give them irrigated area credit for that. That might throw way out of whack their allocation. So we can go through and work with them to do some adjustment on that. That is mostly going to be done in-house, but there is a part of that we are going to have them do. So I believe it's now $4,000 for that rather than the 13 that was there. The last part on top, the parkways and medians, that is essentially for the turf analysis. So that's separate from the parkways item above. What this would do is say there's a lot of parcels, especially CII and HOA parcels, where the parcel boundary cuts off turf on the very edge of the parcel. So if you just use the initial analysis, they would have a smaller allocation because not all of their turf is included in their parcel. And then also, if we're trying to target rebates and we're looking for where is there a lot of turf and that turf is cut off, then we don't have an accurate understanding. So this task would essentially have them go in and adjust those parcel boundaries where there are those little pieces of turf that they want to capture, and they would also flag them as non-functional turf, basically, for us to really pay attention to. And I think that's it of the important stuff, because we're not going to contract with them for any of the bottom stuff, because as you can see, it's very expensive, and we don't need it. So yeah, this is basically just saying DSCE is the best option. That cost number is now outdated. The total cost number was the $29,320. And this is basically a summary of what I just said of why we would go with DSCE over the other two options. I feel like that was a lot of information to throw at you, especially without the nice parcel visuals. So do you have any questions?
Polly?
Great presentation, excellent as always, but I kept going back to I don't know why, I'm just not computing tonight, the middle section. I was trying to get what got us to the amount that you need, the 29. So I know there were things that we were going to do, and this part was too much, the 29,320 is.
Do you guys, did they have the proposal from? Yeah, you do. You have the proposal.
So then I went to this.
Okay. Yeah, I'd go to the table part here. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, I'll just run through it again. So the task one, that's the part I was talking about, where they will take the image that we already have and say on each parcel, how much is irrigated, how many square feet are irrigated, irrigable, not irrigated, and not irrigable. And they'll even show us, like if you're looking at a map, you'll be able to see a polygon of where each area is. So that's really what that task is doing. That also includes the adjustment that I was talking about for if there's an oak orchard or something else that might throw off their allocation a bit.
Okay. I saw this, but I wasn't sure how it calculated theirs. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. That's great.
Of course.
Thank
I know,
you.
they put a lot of line items in here just
Yeah,
to
no,
say that.
I was trying to
so.
compare this to what was up there. We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my fault. I think I got a hold of an older presentation and somehow made it into my slide
Okay.
deck.
No, this is what I needed. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shirley?
Yeah, I had a comment and maybe a question. As a layperson off the street, kind of looking at some of this, like, how much detail do we really need here? or control? Are we, going off the charts? I mean, I think we really, really need a tool to make it fair for people who conserve water, and also, a tool to use for that, and to encourage, water, managing our water better. But, I don't know. I just made that comment, like little strips of here or there or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty precise. It really is, which, I could see why you think some people might not love that.
Yes.
However, the state's already done it. We're not doing anything new at this point. The state already has said exactly how much area and irrigated areas on each parcel. So we're just redoing what they've already done and then expanding it to our whole service area. So the opportunity to not have that happen, I guess, has already passed, probably even a couple of years ago, since this is 2018 imagery that they're using. So,
Okay, well, I guess.
yeah. I think people will become comfortable with it over time because the state's going to move forward with this as a tool. And I think people will just
Well,
have
they
to
sure want
adjust.
something that's fair and that works,
Yeah.
but not, I guess, to tell people too much of, what's
I mean, we're not going to tell any other customer's specific information, right? As always, that will be specific to the individual customer. So they definitely don't have to worry about other customers getting a hold of that information. They just have to be comfortable with us having the information, which unfortunately we already have from the state. So,
Okay, thank you.
Casey?
So we have it from the state, so what is this going to do on top of the state besides get the non-segments
right.
they have?
So the state information is just for what they consider residential parcels to be. And I say they consider because they use the county's land designation, which means if our account class says residential, that doesn't mean the county's says residential. So they actually have some like agricultural parcels in there and just some weird stuff. So we will not only sort of correct that for our own purposes, but then also include all the CII and all the ag. Basically, they just have like a sub-portion of the district done, and we want it for the whole district.
Okay, and then, so do you anticipate being able to use this data if the state comes in at a lower number than we anticipate? Is this something that you could utilize to talk with the state about and figure it out?
My guess is at this point, the state will be holding everyone to the numbers that they have, just because it would probably be too much work for them to adjust. You can request variances from the state for specific things, and you have to request like a specific parcel, specific variance. We will be using the data that the state provided, so that 2018 imagery that's only for the residential parcels, we'll use that to calculate what we expect DWR's allocation to be. So hopefully, if we're using the same methodology and the same image file, we should know what they want our allocation to be, and then we'll use the other image file for our internal allocation. And whether we could use that to convince them to change their allocation for us, I don't know. That would be nice, but I would not expect that to happen. At least at this point, I haven't heard anything like that, but maybe down the line.
If I may follow up on that, the state's regulatory framework is that they are going to hold the water purveyor responsible to meet the water use objectives that they're setting. They won't go parcel by parcel. They'll simply calculate the aggregate and say, Carpinteria Valley Water District, your residents shouldn't be using more than X number of acre feet per year. And we have to compare that number. And if we exceed it, that's when the fines come in. And so this is a tool for us to be able to manage it prior to, getting to that point where we are not in compliance and we have to start working towards how do we get our customers to move into compliance.
I'd like to make one other comment. It doesn't seem very fair how the state is just zooming in on only residents to fine for water allocations when the agriculture sector is using 80% of the water. But is that their sole plan so far?
Hard to know what the state is thinking, but I did want to clarify too. CII, for those of you who don't know, is commercial, institutional, and industrial. So all non-ag customers will eventually fall under the requirements of the state.
Get fined, but not any other water.
Right. We'll be the ones that get fined, but but those customers of ours will have to comply with the regulations that, the state is setting. Ag, it's hard to tell, it's Sigma is probably a significant enough regulatory structure for them to absorb for now, and then who knows what the future will hold.
One
And
other.
Yeah, so this really has nothing to do with state water, it's just water usage from whatever source
Yeah.
for residents, yeah.
Yes, it's just coming from a state entity.
And we
The
have-
regulation is, yeah. Yeah. And just to build on what Bob said, I don't know exactly about the state's thinking on agriculture, but I know one of the reasons why they haven't come up with a formula for commercial, industrial, institutional usage the same way they have for residential is because it's just very difficult to do. Obviously, they're less homogeneous. There's pretty varied usage there, so they're just taking a entirely different approach. I don't know whether that will change in the future. It definitely could.
Yeah, I can understand that aspect because we've discussed it on this board a lot as far as the flexibility of the different worlds,
Yeah.
kind of between the two. But also when you look at San Joaquin Valley and some of those huge, places that have had subsidence of 20 to 30 feet since the 60s, and it's big money, not so much Carpinteria, but that's really driving the state. But we're doing something to look towards the future for a drastically different, view of water. And maybe we will adapt by catching more rainwater and in our whole system. So, okay, thanks.
I got a question. Since this is state mandated, are they volunteering any money to pay for this? Or?
It's a good question. I hope they will. So we've just been talking about budget conversations and, for the commercial, so there's two things. Obviously, we are going to probably need regular analysis of the images that we get. So if we're getting imagery every 2 to 3 years, we'll want to analyze it. So that's a added cost, which I would hope the state would provide some funding for at some point. And then there's also implementation of all of these efforts, especially the commercial, industrial, institutional program, will require effort to actually implement. So I would very much like to see the state provide funding for that. And I just don't, at this point, I haven't heard whether they will. But I hope that they will be rolling out a grant for that. That would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion. Sorry, Casey, did you have a question?
No, go for it.
I'll make a motion to support the engaging the DC SC in the amount of $29,320 for aerial imagery and analysis of parcels within the district.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion?
I have a question.
Go for it.
So I guess I'm a little lost. If the state's going to give us an allocation amount in a year, what do we get? What's the value in us getting ahead of it if we could be wrong, right? If we get a target number that's different from theirs, we're going to be beholden to their numbers no matter what we do, right?
I'd say there are a couple of things. One is, as Bob mentioned, if we know now that we're over, we can start working with customers to reduce usage, which takes a lot of time and effort and money. So, if we have 2 years to comply and we know that we're not going to comply now, it'd be really beneficial to start working on that. The other thing is that the imagery that the state provided does not enable us to do our internal allocation program, which is something that we've been talking a lot about and working towards and would provide sort of additional benefits on top of the state's information that are really useful to us as a management tool.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, any more discussion? Then we need a roll call, please.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Aye.
Director Roberts?
Aye.
Director Balch?
Aye.
Director Van Weerden?
Yes,
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
thank you. We move on to item number 7C, consider authorization for bridge loan from the Carpinteria Valley Water District to the GSA in the amount of $740,000 for El Caro Park Monitoring Well Project construction. For action, Bob?
Thank you. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this during the presentation from Rob Morrow. This is a project that we've been working on for about a year, and it's monitoring wells in El Caro Park. And we've gotten to the point where we've received the permit from the city. We're currently working on the easement to do the construction, and then the permanent easement to access the wells once they're done. We have received a construction bid from a driller for the project in the amount of $740,000, and so we're at the point where we're getting near construction. If you recall, back in I think mid 2022, the project initially was, or the funding for this project was initially granted to the water district, but in mid 2022 we switched the project and all of the GSP activities to the GSA for various reasons. But what that did was it, with this big project, this is one of the biggest projects in the grant fund. It presented a challenge because the CGSA is not doesn't have an active revenue program. We get revenue twice a year from the tax assessor's office, and so this $740,000 need is going to challenge the bank accounts of the GSA, and so what we ended up doing is looking at it as a temporary loan, and we have a policy that approves 100,000 up to 100,000 at a time loans from the water district to the CGSA for cash flow purposes. But of course, 740,000 is beyond that, and so we decided to bring it as an actual loan, promissory note, and the way that the project will work is we'll issue the GSA will issue the contract to the contractor to do the drilling. They'll begin sometime in March or April of this year. The project will probably take about a month to a month and a half, and so at that time they'll issue us a bill and we'll have to pay it. The way that the grant program works is they refund that payout. So we're in a similar situation that Rob explored with or explained with the CAP program, where there will be maybe a 2 or 3 month period where we'll have to dip into some fund and wait for the reimbursement to occur. We could do a commercial bridge loan, but again, I think it's probably more expedient and probably more efficient to just have a loan from the water district for that 3 to 6 month period, and we built in a 3% rate, and so you have a promissory note in your packet that kind of goes over the terms. The main one I point out here is there's a 3% interest rate, where our expectation is that the loan term would be somewhere around 6 months. I think the promissory note allows up to a year, but I don't anticipate it being that long. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
Any questions?
Yes.
Sure.
So, so the other transfers of 100,000 or less are no interest, and so you just kind of keep a ledger sheet on that, right?
I believe in the policy, we do have interest of 3%.
They all have interest.
You do? First of all, I'd like to ask, again, how many monitoring wells is this?
It's a cluster of 3 wells, one in each, the A, the B, and the C zone. So it's one well. It's called a clustered monitoring well.
It's one surplus or for $740,000? And is that the total amount or just the amount of the?
That's the construction amount. There will be some construction services support.
Okay. And so, well, I was thinking, maybe not now. I was thinking to suggest that, the transfers back and forth between the GSA and the district is two separate entities, but it's, Case is going to be lending money to and from himself because
Sure.
he's the board member. And and I'm sure it's all going to be tracked, but I thought it might be helpful for the board to have a loan number on each promissory note. Like, okay, this is number 1, this is number 2, or 100, 102. Are you but you're already doing other $100,000 transfers that also have interests and due dates on each one. So I guess you're already tracking. I guess
Yes, we provided a
to have a
schedule.
separate set of numbers wouldn't really make sense then.
Yeah, at the last board meeting, I believe there was a schedule in there that listed out the dates and the amounts for each loan, as well as any funds or personnel costs that we have let the CGSA borrow.
Okay, all right, that was my question.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll make a motion to approve the loan in the amount of $740,000 to the GSA.
Holly seconds.
Okay, I got one question. Norma, what is the money market rate we're getting right now for the money that we have in reserves, approximately?
Just under 2%.
2%, so this is a good deal. So, okay. Got a motion to second. Any more questions? Then we need a roll call, please.
Director Holcomb?
Yes.
Director Johnson?
Aye.
Director Roberts?
Aye.
Director Balch?
Aye.
Director Van Weerden?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Then we move on to item number 7D. Consider resolution 1138 for the Carpinteria Valley Water District Director compensation for action, Bob.
Yeah, so this is something that we bring back periodically to be considered. This resolution is a draft resolution. It's updated from resolution 1086, which is also in your packet. The last time I believe it was updated was in 2020, and the primary issue is the compensation per meeting for the directors, and so, as you recall, it was $100 per day or per meeting for many years, and it went up by $5 per meeting in 2020, and so we're back. If you want to go another $5, then you would adopt this resolution. If not, then we can put it away and bring it back some other day.
I have a question. Yeah, and I have the experience of $100 was there for probably decades, untouched. But comparing to other agencies like, say, COMB or CCWA or Goleta board compensation, do we have knowledge of that?
We haven't done a survey in some years, but when we did, we were significantly lower than other agencies. I mean, there's other agencies that are over $200 a meeting, so.
I'm pretty sure we had a committee meeting that wasn't on the agenda, so I don't think I can talk about it, even though we're talking about this topic, right? Unfortunately. So, but without saying that, could I also just agree that it's the other agencies, and COM are significantly higher. Maybe not COM yet, but the other agencies are.
This is still considered very, very low if you went to 110.
But we did it for a reason, though. We stayed this way for a reason, because things have been so tight.
Well, I understand that. It would just be.
But it's way
it'd be-
lower. Like
it'd be illustrative to-
everybody's at 200 or
We
higher.
can do a survey and come back again.
Informational, yeah, that'd be, just be interesting. But otherwise, the proposal is to adopt a resolution that would raise it from $105 to $110. And that is, is this for an action item tonight then? So,
It can be, yeah.
well, I would move to adopt resolution 1138 as read by title only.
I would second, but I also have a question about the, it seems like there's 2 training that board members are required to do. And are they both under ethics? No, this one says it's only one. There's also the sexual harassment one, right? That we're required to do.
Yes, you are required to
I
do
think
this.
that should be reimbursed as well.
I would agree with that. If we're going to do ethics, we should do sexual harassment. They're both mandatory.
So you can approve with that amendment. We could change it and include that. Yeah.
Okay, that's my.
I'll amend the motion to include that.
Okay. And then I'll just mention that one other change is also that on the very first page, we added another organization, the California Special Districts Association. It's similar to Aqua, where directors can obtain training. So rather than having to get pre-approval from the board to allow a board member to attend, this would allow you to attend without that.
Any more questions? I would like to add, if we can get a recap from what the other Goleta, Santa Barbara, and Montecito are paying their directors, but I'm fine to move forward the way it is.
Yeah.
So then we need a roll call, please.
Director Holcomb,
Yes.
Director Johnson,
Yes,
Director Roberts,
Aye.
Director Balch.
Aye.
Director Van Waarden.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Then we move on to item number 7E, discuss ACWA Spring Conference, informational, Bob.
Yes, so you have in your packet the schedule for the Aqua Conference, Spring Conference in Monterey, May 9th through May 11th. Typically, we have at least one director and potentially myself attend these. We've slowed down in light of COVID, but I think they're somewhat back into the pre-COVID mode where they're holding these conferences and they're getting attendance. And so I don't believe they will have a virtual option this time. So it's for your discussion, and if you would like to let us know if you were interested in attending, we can get you signed up and lodging put in place.
So who's interested in going? Anyone?
I'm just going to add that obviously I have elderly parent obligations, so I can't go to these anymore. But even before COVID, when Charles and I would go down to attend the Tuesday session, we would divide and conquer, and I always found them very, very helpful for a lot of reasons.
this is going to be in Monterey? Oh, okay.
So
I think I'm the JPIA rep, is that right?
Yep, I can attend that if
Oh, okay.
necessary.
Well, next time I'm pretty sure I'll be able to go, but this one would be tough. But
Okay.
if it was mandatory, I could make the Monday, but.
So between the three of us then? No, I'm
Okay.
just
Well, yeah.
asking.
Again,
We'll figure it out. I mean,
It was
you don't
informational.
have to, right? I mean,
We don't have to. I'm going to
Have
go.
to.
I'm going to go to the
it was-
conference,
yeah.
but I
Well, who's the, are you, so Matt, are you Aqua and JPIA?
No.
You're just JPIA?
Well, isn't it the Agua JPIA?
Yeah, so you are both. Okay, okay.
Well, that's
No,
what I
but-
meant.
No, you knew what we did. Al and I split it. Al was the JPIA and I was the Aqua. That's how we did it, even though it was combined. So he would go down for one day and then I would go down for the next day. And I just can't do it anymore, sorry, at least for now.
okay.
No problem. So just for my information, Matt, you're going to go for the JPA then at the same
But if
meeting?
Bob's going and he can do it, then I won't, but I will be able to pledge the next time,
Okay, so
the
you
fall conference.
But I think it'd be good if one of us can go, so we'll put some pressure on the three of us. So. All right, item number 7F, approve director attendance and compensation of the CSDA board member best practices workshop, January 18, 19, 2023, and report by Director Balch for action, Bob.
Yeah, this is a training that Director Balch attended, and because of the resolution, I guess we passed a resolution now, so it might not apply, but
Yeah, at
the
that
old-
time, it didn't include it.
the old resolution didn't include the CSDA training, so just as belts and suspenders, we wanted to bring it to the board for approval of reimbursement.
Holly makes a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Then we need a roll call, please.
Director Holcomb,
Yes?
Director Johnson,
I,
Director Roberts.
Aye.
Director Balch.
Abstain.
Director Van Wieren.
Yes,
Motion carries 401.
very good. Then we go to number 8, Director Reports, 8A, CCWA Board Meeting, January 26, 2023. Shirley?
Oh, okay. We started in closed session, and a reportable action was that the board rejected the district's cross-claim between the CCWA and Santa Barbara County. So what we had is a big executive director's water report, which is totally changed by now. And the big announcement is the state water allocation has been changed from 5% to 30%, which really doesn't include any data from the record snowpack that we have right now. So it might go up over 30%. And we did a report on the state contractors overseeing of the infrastructure projects, the asset management program by the states, which I didn't even know. The state contractors, for people who maybe anybody who doesn't know, they're there's 29 of them. They go across the whole state of California, and they are the entities which take state water project water, and they have allocations, and they pay tons of money for the aqueducts and everything. And so it's an organization which Ray Stokes, I think he's still the chair of, and we're, our whole group, including, Carpinteria and Santa Barbara and Goleta, et cetera, is 1.1% of the total contractor water amount. So we're small, but we pay a big portion of the annual charges because we built our aqueduct. The coastal aqueduct is about 30 years old now, and we built that just between our small little selves at a later date. So that's why we pay. We're third largest in payments to the state on fixed costs. But anyway, so this is a part of the state contractors. He's what is his title? Manager. But anyway, the state undertakes or starts 200 new projects every year for maintaining the state aqueduct system. And so this individual did a report for us, just going through a lot of different things, and since the San Joaquin Valley subsidence rate and new bridges and dams and things and all that kind of stuff. So it's just good to know that we have some oversight, at least. No power, I don't think, or authority, but keeping track of what the state is doing, because the DWR, the State Department of Water Resources, sometimes their billing is kind of crazy, and it's very complicated, because if they work on this part of the aqueduct or this project, they have to look and see who does that benefit, and if it doesn't benefit us, we don't have to pay any, and if it benefits, it depends on how they slice and dice it. So anyway, that was interesting. And then the other thing was we discussed the Nipomo chlorine booster, our nitrate problem within the coastal conduit, and who's going to pay for what, and came to a good agreement, and that's about it.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you.
Then we move on to item number 9, General Manager Report, none. We move on to closed session items. Number 10, conference with legal counsel, potential existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.
We're doing them all tonight?
None of the comb items, sir.
Sorry?
I don't have any closed sessions.
Oh, you're off? Okay. So number 10 is off. How about Carrie? Do we have anything?
I think the only thing we have is the Central Coast Water Authority item. 13.
13.
13, and then actually the employee performance one as well, so the last 13, 14.
Okay, so for closed session then, item number 13, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9, D1, name of case, Central Coast Water Authority et al. Versus Santa Barbara County Flood Control and Water Conservation District et al., case number 21 CV 02432. And then we have item number 14, that is public employee performance evaluations, the general manager.
Recording stopped.
Now without a heart to call my own, a greater happiness I've never known, because her kisses are for me alone. Who wouldn't say frenesy? Now without a heart to call my own, a greater happiness I've never known, because her kisses are for me alone. Who wouldn't say frenesy?
Each time I look at you is like the first time. Each time you're near me, the thrill is new. And there is nothing that I wouldn't do for the rare delight of the sight of you. For the more I see you, the more I want you. Somehow this feeling just grows and grows. With every sigh I become more mad about you, more lost without you. And so it goes. Can you imagine how much I'll love you the more I see you? As years go by, I know the only one for me can only be you. My arms won't free you, my heart won't try. I know the only one for me can only be you. My arms won't free you, my heart won't try.
I wanna be around to pick up the pieces when somebody breaks your heart. Somebody twice as smart as somebody who will swear to be true like you used to do with me, who'll leave you to learn that misery loves company. Wait and see. I wanna be around to see how she does it when she breaks your heart to bits. Let's see if the puzzle fits. So fine. That's when I'll discover that revenge is sweet, as I sit there applauding from a front row seat when somebody breaks your heart like you broke mine. Everything about me seems so strange, dear. My friends tell me I don't feel the same. I go around acting silly, dear. I can't even remember my name. I'm lost because the telephone won't ring. I'm lost. My pet canary bird won't sing. Lost because each souvenir you left has faded blue. That's how much I'm lost without you.
from sight. Lock your dreams at night. It could happen to you. Don't count stars or you might stumble. Someone drops a sigh and down you tumble. Keep an eye on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your arms would be, and it happened to me. Keep an eye on spring. Run when church bells ring. It could happen to you. All I did was wonder how your arms would be, and then it happened to
Today I may not have a thing at all, except for just a dream or two. But I've got lots of plans for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. Right now it may not seem like spring at all. We're drifting and the laughs are few, but I've got rainbows planned for tomorrow, and all my tomorrows belong to you. No one knows better than I that luck keeps passing me by. But with you there at my side, I'll soon be turning the tide. As long as I've got arms that cling at all, that I'll be clinging to. All the dreams I dream beg or borrow on some bright tomorrow, they'll all come true, and all my bright tomorrows belong to you.
When an irresistible force such as you meets an old immovable object like me, you can bet just as sure as you live, something's gotta give, something's gotta give, something's gotta give. When an irrepressible smile such as yours warms an old implacable heart such as mine, don't say no, because I insist. Somewhere, somehow, someone's gotta be kissed. So on guard, who knows what the fates might have in store from their vast, mysterious sky. I'll try hard, ignoring those lips that I adore, but how long can anyone try? Fight, 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 fight it with all of our might. Chances are some heavenly star-spangled night we'll find out just as sure as we live. Something's gotta give, something's gotta give, something's gonna give. Fight, fight, fight it with all of your might. Chances are that some heavenly star-spangled night we'll find out just as sure as we live. Something's gotta give, something's gotta give, something's gotta give. Something's gotta give, something's gotta give. Oh, let's tear it up.
Once upon a time, before I took up smiling, I hated the moonlight, shadows of the night, but poets find beguiling seemed flat as a noonlight. No one to stay up for, I went to sleep at 10. Life was a bitter cut for the saddest of all men. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, you know just what I was there for.
Recording in progress.
Okay, we're back in a regular session of the Carpinteria Valley Water District, and there is, where do I have it? That's no good. Oh, yeah. So there is no reportable action on, I'm sorry guys, I missed my,
That would be number.
Item 13 and 14.
okay, no reportable action on number 13 and also on number 14. And then we're back to consider number 15, consider dates and items for agenda for Carpinteria Valley Water District Board meeting of February 22nd, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. Carpinteria City Hall, 5775 Carpinteria Avenue, Carpinteria, California. Anyone, anything to bring up for the agenda? And then we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Save the day here.
Recording stopped.
And then there suddenly appeared before me the only one my arms would ever hold. I heard somebody whisper, please adore me. And when I looked, the moon had turned to gold. Now I'm no longer alone, without a dream in my heart, without a love of my own. Blue moon, blue Our love is a dream, but in my reverie, I can see that this love was meant for me. Only a poor fool, never schooled in the whirlpool of romance, could be so cruel as you are to me. My dreams are as worthless as tin to me. Without you, life will never begin to be. So love me as I love you in my reverie. Make my dream a reality. Let's dispense with formality. Come to me in my reverie.
will never begin to be. So love me as I love you in my reverie. Make my dream a reality. Let's dispense with formality. Come to me in my reverie.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello, and I can hardly speak. My heart is beating so, and anyone can tell. You think you know me well. Well, you don't know me. No, you don't know the one who dreams of you at night and longs to kiss your lips and longs to hold you tight. Oh, oh, I'm just a friend. That's all I've ever been, 'cause you don't know me. For I never knew the art of making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by. A and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, you'll never know the one who loves you so. Well, you don't know me. Making love, though my heart aches with love for you. Afraid and shy, I let my chance go by. A chance that you might love me too. You give your hand to me, and then you say goodbye. I watch you walk away beside the lucky guy. Oh, you'll never know the one who loves you so. You don't know me. You'll never know the one who loves you so. Well, you don't know me.
If it takes
For 1,000 summers I will wait for you till you're back beside me, till I'm holding you, till I hear you sigh here in my arms. Anywhere you wander, anywhere you go, every day remember how I love you so. In your heart believe what in my heart I know, that forevermore I'll wait for you. The clock will tick away the hours one by one, and then the time will come when all the waiting's done. The time when you return and find me here and run straight to my waiting arms. If it takes forever, I will wait for you. For 1,000 summers I will wait for you till you're back beside me, till I'm touching you, and forevermore, 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 I will wait for you.
Lately I find myself out gazing at stars, hearing guitars like someone in love. Sometimes the things I do astound me. Mostly whenever you're around me. Lately I seem to walk as though I had wings, bump into things like someone in love. Each time I look at you, I'm limp as a glove and feeling like someone in each time
sweet expression, the smile you gave me, the way you looked when we met. It's easy to remember, but so hard to forget. I hear you whisper, I'll always love you. I know it's over and yet it's easy to remember, but so hard to forget. So I must dream to have your hand caress me, fingers press me tight. I'd rather dream than have that lonely feeling stealing through the night. Each little moment is clear before me, and though it brings me regret, it's easy to remember and so hard to forget. It's easy to remember and so hard to
Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, indeed I do. Do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, indeed I do. I'm glad that I'm the one who found you. That's why I'm always hanging around you. Do I love you? Oh my, do I? Honey, indeed I do. Do I want you? Oh my, do I? Honey, indeed I do. do I need you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do? I'm glad that I'm the one who found you. That's why you'll always find me hanging around you. Do I love you? Oh my, do I? Honey, did I do?
One less gal to look after. I should be happy, but all I do is cry. Oh, I should be happy. I only know that since she left, my life's so empty. Though I try to forget, it just can't be done. Each time the doorbell rings, I still run. I don't know how in the world to stop thinking of her, 'cause I still love her so. I end each day the way I start out, crying my heart out. One less gal to look after, no more laughter, no more love. Since she went, oh, she went away. Why did she leave me? Why did she go away? All I do is cry for you, babe. Why did you go away? All I do is cry. Why did you go away?
Hello, young lovers, whoever you are, I hope your troubles are few. All my good wishes go with you tonight. I've been in love like you. Be brave, young lovers, and follow your star. Be brave and faithful and true. Cling very close to each other tonight. I've been in love like you. I know how it feels to have wings on your heels and to fly down the street in a trance. You fly down the street on a chance that that you meet, and you meet not really by chance. Don't cry, young lovers, whatever you do. Don't cry because I'm alone. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've had a love of my own. I've had a love of my own like yours. I've had a love of my own. I know how it feels to have wings on your heels and to fly down the street in a trance. You fly down the street on a chance that you meet, and you meet not really by chance. Don't cry, young lovers, whatever you do. Don't cry because I'm alone. All of my memories are happy tonight. I've had a love of my own. I've had a love of my own like yours. I've had a love of my own.
Strangers, and we were sweethearts for so long. Lovers, until you let your love go wrong. Kiss me, then give your heart to someone new. Darling, this is our last adieu to you. My heart cries out perfidia, for I found you the love of my life in somebody else's arms. Perfidia, forgetful of our promise of love, you're sharing another's charms. With a sad lament, my dreams have faded like a broken melody, while the gods of love look down and laugh at what romantic fools we mortals be. And now I know my love was not for you, and so I take it back with a sigh, perfidious one, goodbye. My dreams have faded like a broken melody, while the gods of love look down and laugh. What romantic fools we mortals be. And now I know my love was not for you, and so I take it back with a sigh, perfidious one, goodbye. Perfidia, you're the love of my life. Perfidia, we were sweethearts for so long. Until you let
loved one home safely to me. She sailed at the dawning. All day I've been blue. Red sails in the sunset. I'm trusting in you. Swift wings you must borrow. Make straight for the shore. We marry tomorrow, and she goes sailing no more. Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Oh, carry my loved one home safely to me. Borrow, make straight for the shore. We marry tomorrow, and she goes sailing no more. Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Oh, carry my loved one home safely to me.
You figured to a T. Nobody else would rate with you but me. Just goes to show how dumb a guy can be. Two-time and gal. I listened to your stories full of woe. I helped you with your worries, didn't know you'd use my dough for making hidey-ho. Two-time and gal. I followed blindly, tied to your apron strings. Now that's behind me, I'm gonna start clipping your wings. You had me thinking you were mine, oh mine. The way you went about it sure's a crime. There's lots of better people doing time to time and gal. I had a feeling there would come a night you'd pack your clothes with everything inside. I hope the boyfriend finds the clothes too tight to time and gal.
As you are, don't let a thing ever change you. Stay as sweet as you are, don't let a soul rearrange you. Don't ever lose all the charm you possess. Your loveliness, darling, the way you say yes. Stay as sweet as you are, discreet as you are, you're divine, dear. Stay as grand as you are, and as you are, tell me that you're mine, dear. Young and gay, or old and gray, near to me or apart, night and day I pray that you'll always stay as sweet as you.
Have you anything to say to me? Won't you tell me where my love can be? Is there a meadow in the mist where someone's waiting to be kissed? Skylark, have you seen a valley green whispering where my heart can go a-journeying over the shadows and the rain to a blossom-covered lane? And in your lonely flight, haven't you heard the music in the night? Wonderful music, faint as a will-o'-the-wisp, crazy as a
serenading the moon. Oh, skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there? Skylark, I don't know if you can find these things, but my heart is riding on your wings. So if you see them anywhere, won't you lead me there?
Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Oh, honey, though our friendship ceases from now on. And listen, if you can't say anything real nice, it's better not to talk at all is my advice. We're parting, you go your way, I'll go mine, it's best that we do. Here's a kiss, I hope that this brings lots of luck to you. Oh, makes no difference how I carry on. Remember, please don't talk about me when I'm gone. We're parting, you go your way, I go mine, it's best that we do. Here's a kiss, I hope that this brings lots of luck to you. Makes no difference how I carry on. Remember, please don't talk about me. Please don't talk about me. Please don't talk about me when I'm gone.
was a thing called spring, when the world was writing verses like yours and mine. All the lads and girls would sing when we sat at little tables and drank me wine. Now April, May, and June are sadly out of tune. Life has stuck the pin in the balloon. Yes, spring is here. Why doesn't my heart go dancing? Spring is here. Why isn't the waltz entrancing? No desire, no ambition leads me. Maybe it's because nobody needs me. Spring is here. Why doesn't the breeze delight me? Stars appear. Why doesn't the night invite me? Maybe it's because nobody loves me. Spring is here, I hear.
Could show the world how to smile. I could be glad all of the while. I could change the gray skies to blue if I had you. I could leave the old days behind, leave all my past, I'd never mind. I could start my life all anew if I had you. Mountains, sail the mighty ocean wide. I could cross the burning desert if I had you by my side. 'Cause I could be a queen, dear, uncrowned, humble or poor, rich or renowned. There is nothing I couldn't do if I had you. sail the mighty ocean wide. I could cross the burning desert if I had you by my side. 'Cause I could be a queen, dear and crowned, humble or poor, rich or renowned. There is nothing I couldn't do if I had you.
My story is much too sad to be told, but practically everything leaves me totally cold.